Hi folks, it's been a long while since I made a video on water cooling. So I've been water cooling now for about 7 years, and this is a kind of roundup of my water cooling experience and some of the hints and tips I've learned over the years. So this is my rig just now. It's a forever evolving hobby. It's not something you can say, this is my water cooling rig and this is how it always look. It's forever changing. Now this is mine running just now. I'm going to switch it off and take the side panel off for you. Let's take the side off. Now first of all, I'll start with the side. Some LED strips down here. 2 red LED strips with some wiring to a pair of contacts. Now that enables me to have a wireless side. Although it's lit, there's no wires running to it. I don't have to unplug anything. So here's the contacts I was talking about. The panel touches these contacts and it lights up the side casing. So here's my rig. It consists of, I won't talk so much about the hardware of the computer, but here's the graphics card and the water cooling block, the pump, a radiator here which is 120mm. There's a radiator up the top which is a 240mm radiator here with a pair of fans. My CPU block there as well. It's great from the point of the CPU block because I see a good cooler, good air cooler, would be massive. It would take up all this space. So there's a lot of space in here still. My pump, this is a new pump, only put it in yesterday. This is similar, same model as the one that came out. It's a Watercooling S30A. Pretty decent pumps, but I write F on it. I know that it's faulty, but it still works if I need it. If all else was to fail. And this is about £35. This one is about £45. Now I like the combined reservoir. You could put a reservoir separate with a pump sitting down the bottom. There's various options here. You've got loads of options, it depends on your personal preference. Because I like the reservoir combined, this is another one, this is an Alpha Cool. This one is about £100. It's just various options. This one is fully functioning and it has a different device for speed changing as well. It's also, I think this is about 600 cubic litres per hour. This one is about 300 and this one is about 450. So this is the kind of the middle of the range here. It's a so far very good pump. I run clear fluid, as you can see. The pipes discolour over time. It's nothing. It's not a problem for the computer itself. I have a silver kill coil in there which inhibits any fungal growth, any bacterial growth in there. Now the water is a deionised water. You can use deionised or boiled off, you know what I mean. It's condensed water. I'll come up with the word shortly. Now that water has got a very low conductivity. It's about 3 picosieverts when it goes in there. Straight away it will rise, but anything you put in this system, you flush it with deionised water or distilled water is the other word I was thinking about. So distilled water and deionised water have got very low conductivity, so if you were to get a leak in the early stages, it wouldn't cause a short circuit because the water at that early stage does not conduct. It's only at later stages when the water picks off ions from, like, say, your copper nickel blocks, your copper nickel blocks in your CPU block. It pulls ions off, which increases the conductivity. There is no way around this. Just change your water every maybe year. I wouldn't go any more than a year. I do it every summer. I tend to do it every summer unless I change an item like a pump, because you have to drain the system then. Before you put anything into the system, you flush it with distilled or deionised water. So you get a new pump out the factory, everyone's hands have touched that, there might be some debris and dirt, dust, whatever is in there. The dust increases the conductivity of the water, and it also when it's going through a fine matrix in the CPU block, it will collect. It will reduce the cooling efficiency of the system and the conductivity of the water, and it will start to gunk up as well. Like I say, I use clear fluids, but you can use many different colours: fluorescent, green, blue, orange, whatever you fancy. There are mixed reviews on these systems, but the technology is forever changing. So a red fluid today might not be as good as a red fluid in a few years' time. So obviously there are lots of different manufacturers as well. When you get some from the manufacturer, it might say 0.05 picosieverts, which is a low conductivity. But bear in mind that as soon as you touch up your hands, that conductivity has increased. As soon as it goes in the system, the conductivity has increased. I change it when it gets to around about 40 to 50 picosieverts. I get 5 litres of water for £3.50. Some of the fluids are 30, 40, 50 pounds for a litre. So yeah, you can see who the crazy people are then. It looks great, yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't do it specifically for the looks. Now these are all flexible pipes. I could hard pipe it, which would increase the visual aesthetics. Personally, I'm in it for the performance rather than the aesthetics. This is a 12mm ID, 16mm OD. That's inside diameter and outside diameter. So it's basically a half-inch pipe. Now the barbs and stuff, all the fittings are half-inch. You can use a quarter, 3/8. You can go higher to 3/4 if you want as well, purely for volume. Now I have one pump cooling 2 objects with 360mm of radiator. The recommended sizes here is, well, obviously the pump needs to do the head. The head of the pump is the height that it pumps, but we'll get back to that in a second. What happens is you need 120mm of radiator per cooled item. So one item here would be enough for this one radiator. 2 items would be another 120mm radiator. Now I've got the space here for 3 items. I used to have a second graphics card, an SLI, which cooled great with the 3 radiators, but I didn't need that. I started off with 590s, 2 590 graphics cards, and then I went to 690s, and then I went to 780, and now I'm at a 1080. So you can see the evolution. Now the price of this block here has to be replaced every time you get a new graphics card. So it's not just a case of, if it was an air-cooled system, I could have took that graphics card out, stuck a new graphics card in, plugged it in, and I'd be done within, I could change a graphics card within a minute. Not in this case, it just doesn't happen that way. To change a graphics card in this, from start to finish, you're looking about an hour and a half. Easy, to maybe even 2 hours. You need to put in the conductive paste. You also need to put in the conductive pads, and these are all thermally conductive pads and paste. And the block, so you buy the block, you take the air cooler off the card, and then you clean it up, and then you put the water block on it. So it's quite an extensive hobby when it comes to time wise. It takes a lot more time, a lot more involved. What I said about the head, it's a closed loop system. So the head is basically, it pumps it up, so this is about 0.6 of a metre. So it pumps it up, but also gravity pulls it back. So the head is not as important in a closed loop system. What goes up is coming back down basically through gravity, so the pump is not fighting as hard. But yeah, closed loop systems are also better for leaks as well, because if I was to cut a slit in this pipe, it would drip, it wouldn't spray out. Even though the pump pressure is quite high, it wouldn't spray out because it would cause a vacuum in the pipe. So from a closed loop system, it's definitely beneficial from that aspect. Another thing I use is temperature sensors. Now that's just a personal preference, it's so I can monitor the temperature and the benefits I receive from this system. I have a temperature sensor at the back of this fan, which is drawing in ambient air, which needs a dust as well. It gives me basically the benchmark air temperature, and then it comes in, so I know the air temperature in the case. I have a system temperature, which is after it goes through the graphics card and the computer, the CPU. It's the input to the radiator temperature. I have an output radiator temperature here, and I have a CPU temperature. So if the pump was to fail, the CPU temperature would increase and it would alarm. Once you've decided to water cool, people say that you should run the computer with no power on it for 24 hours. That is crap. This is how I've learned to do it. Now I've tried a lot of different methods. Now there's a whole subject just on the testing process. What the major thing is here is get a separate power supply. Now the separate power supply could be an additional power supply, just a spare one for your computer. It could be an adapted one. It could be just a temporary wired up plug. It's up to you. But run it separate from the computer for about half an hour. Not even half an hour, 20 minutes. And once you've established that there are no leaks present when the system is starting up, that also helps you fill the system. Then you won't have any leaks at that temperature. Now the main thing now is when the temperature increases, that's when you might get a leak. So what I do is get something like Heaven Bench or Prime 95 or Furmark, something that will increase the temperature on the computer. And what to do is wire everything up, put everything back how it's going to be running when it is back in the computer, and then put Furmark on, but sit here with a torch and watch it. Now let it run for about 45 minutes. When you're sitting, you have a wee look and just make sure there are no drips, because when that water heats up, everything increases in size, it expands. Now it's only very, very slightly, granted, but everything expands. The pipework, the fittings, the copper, the metal, everything expands. So when it's running at ambient temperature, if it doesn't leak within 20 minutes, it's not going to leak. But when everything moves and expands slightly, it may leak. So run it at hot as well. Another great tip for filling the system, because my system is filled from here. This is the output. This goes through the pump, up through the, you know the story, but it also has to come back through here. So the air gets pumped through here and into here. So when I'm filling this, you've got a lot of intricate parts that has to go through: the radiator matrix, the CPU matrix, the graphics card matrix. That's a lot of air to get out the system. What I have got is a radiator with a fill port on the top, and that has probably been one of the best investments that I've made. It makes filling the system take 5 minutes. I'll just quickly show you that fill port actually. There you go. 2 wee plugs that I can take off and move the system. And what a difference that makes. Price wise, about £50, £100, maybe about another £60. Radiator, top radiator is about £60. Side radiator in an outlet, that's quite a good radiator, that's about £40. Pipework's about a tenner. Fittings maybe about £40. All in all, you're looking about £300 to £400 worth of equipment there. That's over and above any computer hardware. That's just purely water cooling. Okay, I hope this has helped you guys. If you've not decided to water cool, I hope this hasn't put you off, because it's a fantastic hobby. But be cautious, and I hope you've gained stuff from what I've told you there, because there's a lot of good tips here that I've learned over the years. Okay, catch you later. Bye.